What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Getting ready to head out for church, getting dressed. Want to just jump on here and just give a funny story. Last night I went out to grab something to eat. It was late. I didn't realize how late it was. I've been working in the yard all day yesterday. Finishing the siding on the patio and starting to prepare to get ready to build out the tiny house. So it was a pretty busy day all day yesterday. So the wife went to a concert, so I was pretty much here alone working. So I was hungry. After I ate, she had brought me food, but I was hungry later in the day. So I said, let me head out here and grab me some food right quick. So it was late. So it's not many choices, really. So I ran to the restaurant. I got into the drive-thru and I asked the person, because you know these menus they're digital, they're switching back and forth. I wanted something specific and I didn't see it on the menu, so I asked the question, do you have XYZ on the menu? And the young lady came back and she was super smart and said, yeah, it's under such and such, signature this. I said, okay, well, I don't see that because it's switching back and forth, so I have to wait to see the signature dishes. And then it switched so fast, so I couldn't catch what I wanted. So then I got silent because she was kind of rude. She was very rude, honest with you. So I just was staring at the menu, trying to read the menu. Then she came back on and said, okay, what do you want? And she was smart again. I said, well, hold on, I'm trying to read your menu. Trying to find out where it was. So she was really getting smart. So at one point, I went old school and said, you know what, let me talk to your manager. And she was like, sir, what do you want? So I just said, never mind, I think, give me 4 such and such. This is say 4, give me 4 number ones with fries and no drink. And then I said, also let me get a 24 piece of your number 10 with no drinks as well. Then she came back and said, well, those come with sides. You got to get them with a side. I said, there's no way. I got to get them with a side. You got to get them with a side because I don't have anything on my register that would let me ring it up that way. I said, okay, but then give me this with it, this with it, this with it. So I went on to order food. And it's just bear with me, I'm getting to something. So afterwards, I said, okay, that's it. And I drove around. And then I said, you know what? But in my mind, I got to be honest. I said to myself, I'm not going to get this food. The lady was super rude. So I said, I'm not going to get it. So I just kind of drove around and then I left. And I could hear her hollering out the window, drive-through window. So I left. So then I went down the street to another restaurant. And I sat down for a second. I went into this restaurant, sat at the bar because I did a carry-out. Ordered my food, waited 10 minutes, got my food, got up, left, drove back home. Now, the distance between the restaurant and my home is probably about 25 minutes. So I get home. I realized that it's like 10:30. I realized how late it was. So I sat down, I opened up the food, I said, this is not what I ordered. I said, what the heck is this? It's not what I ordered. So I started to try to eat it, but it wasn't good. So I said, man. And then it dawned on me. I said, now see what I did? I went to that restaurant and got frustrated. And instead of just leaving on the front end, I stayed there and I ordered food that deep down inside, I think I knew I was not going to get it. It was just me trying to get back at that lady in my own way by making her sit there and take my order and put it in the system and ring it up and call it back for me to say, I don't want it. I took out vengeance on her. In return, I went to another restaurant, spent my $25, and didn't get what I want. That was my punishment because I didn't allow God to handle her disrespectful attitude and her demeanor. I took it upon myself to handle it my way. I did something I shouldn't have did, and I received a punishment for it by not getting what I wanted and paying my money for. See, had I sat there and allowed God to handle that situation, to say, you know what, ma'am, I don't want anything. Your attitude is, I didn't even have to say that. I could have just said, no, thank you, and drove away, went to the restaurant, and I probably would have got what I ordered and had me a halfway decent meal last night. So the message of this story is, listen, even the smallest little things that we do, we have to do them with with God in mind. We got to remove ourselves from the situation. See, I was offended. I was not angry, but I was mad. I was disappointed. So I said, well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to order $70 worth of food from you, and I'm not going to get it. Nothing was right about that. So right now I ask for forgiveness for doing that. But see, it was an immediate reaction or punishment, as you want to say, by me going somewhere and paying my money and didn't get what I want. So some may say, listen, that wasn't God. That was you. You didn't check your order. No, I'm telling you. The little things we do by not being obedient are signs from God. They're telling you that you have to change your behavior. When you're reading your scriptures, they're calling for you to return to repent. Sin is sin. Doing something wrong, it can be considered sin. The slightest sin is sin. So whether I tried to get revenge is a sin. My intent was to get revenge on her by making her take my order. It was a sinful act that I committed. In return, my reward or my punishment was I'll go pay for food at a whole nother restaurant and not get what I ordered. Drive all the way home just to call back up there and say, I didn't get the food I wanted. And for them response to be like, okay, well, come back later on and we'll give it to you. Knowing I'm not going to go back up there and knowing they're not going to remember me. So, funny story, but a serious lesson. And on that note, guys, again, I'm in 1 Peter. And 1 Peter is a real short chapter. So I invite you guys to jump in there and read it. Leave any comments if you have it. And just stay tuned for future improvement to come. And on that note, guys, I'm going to let you go. I just wanted to share that story to show how it was a cause and effect reaction to me not being obedient to God. All right. You guys have a good one.